what's up, Internet? Mike here, and a quick bit of housekeeping before we get into this edition of the B-Roll. For those of you who caught our review for Dora and the Lost City of Gold, I did say at the end of the review that next month we would be looking at It Chapter 2 and 21 Bridges. The problem is, when I made that decision, the release date I saw for 21 Bridges was in September. Turns out at some point since then, it's actually been moved to November, so we'll instead more than likely be doing It Chapter 2 and Rambo Last Blood, because frankly it was the only other movie in September that looked interesting and more or less in our wheelhouse. But with that, you'll have noticed in the Dora review that there's a segment that had to be kind of chopped up a bit where I basically went kind of insane over a children's movie. And since we of course had to cut it for time, but it's just too damn funny, and there actually are valid points kind of scattered about in the segment. Here it is in its uncut, unedited glory. Enjoy. But you can pretty clearly tell that there's a rig to hold that bag in place.
Well, yeah, because if it were real life, the weight of her would have shifted everything down, and she would have
That's
been
the next
straight as opposed to
problem.
hanging in the air.
A woman
We know this.
turns to gold and then becomes a different race.
She's
And you're so pissed about this!
And of course, I'm watching the bus pull away because, she's hanging by the backpack and her feet and her arms are flailing. And I'm watching it drive away and there's a parked car and I'm wondering how much clearance they're going to have. And do they get her past the car or does he stop before hitting her?
No, it's like, I'm sorry. The only logical play out of this joke is Dora is dead. And the movie is fucking over. But I expected that joke to go longer. Like, a lot of these movies love to really overplay the worst jokes that they have. And that was what I expected.
Yeah,
And they didn't do that.
this one didn't overplay any joke.
No.
It was really curious. Every time they hit roughly the same beat, it was a new interpretation. Like Boots, the monkey. There's a couple of jokes in there about how she talks to Boots, and that's weird. But they're all
That's my next problem.
They're all done in a different way until we reach the wonderful moment in which, completely alone and probably still tripping balls, Boots talks to her and gives her really good advice. Number one, who is that? Whose voice is that?
Danny Trejo.
That's Danny Trejo.
Yes.
Okay, child saver Danny Trejo.
Yep.
Hero of LA. So it's just one of those wonderful things of you guys could have beaten the same joke to death. You did go out of your way to make this work every time in a different fashion. You get a tiny bit of a gold star.
And I'm taking that gold star right back.
Aww.
And there's a reason.
Aww.
You're just mean.
Because, I'm sorry, this is a movie where...
This children's movie is not living up to my artistic expectations! This is nothing like Citizen Kane. Nothing like Citizen Kane!
There was a lot, the bus joke is wrong, but it goes by so quick that I was almost willing to forgive the movie. But then, this movie wants me to believe.
Yes, what is the children's movie's expectations of you just released? Tell me!
Apparently, an anthropomorphic, talking fox that steals everything in sight is perfectly fine with everyone!
No explanation whatsoever. Why is he wearing a mask? Because fuck you!
But a talking monkey is where everyone has the damn problem!
Yep.
A talking monkey that can pry open doors made of giant rock pretty much by itself by pretending it's a car jack. Fuck you! That's where I just went, no!
He stood up in the theater of 4 other people. The only adult alone. And screamed, no! I say no, movie!
Got too damn far!
Oh my god.
And then that old woman came back.
With her posse. She had friends.
A lot of them.
Yeah, and they obviously took day trips to the city based on their clothing choices, which you were frequently pissed about earlier.
And at this point, this movie has been literally lifting from the Indiana Jones franchise so damn liberally. Harrison Ford might as well goddamn walked on screen.
There were parts of Snow White where she's talking to animals. There were parts of, like I said, Dorothy in the field, and Tomb Raider, and yeah. So it borrowed.
Yeah. Like the guy that they met randomly in the woods, who
just happened to know her name
and happened to stumble upon the people who kidnapped her. Yeah. Oh, he's a bad guy, even though he literally during the drug trip said, "I'm the bad guy."
Oh, but no, we're all good people.
Lady, he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy.
Because 18 years or 16 or however. Oh, well, I haven't seen you since you were an infant, and you haven't changed. Really? I think she's got a little bit of height difference going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I can recognize infants 18 years later with no context whatsoever.
Oh, of course.
Nope. There's this random brown-headed child that, her parents must be the kid I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We couldn't tell that one coming a mile away.
Oh, and apparently, while you're upset about logic, you have no problem with 4 teenagers being shoved in a crate and sent
Only
across
one
multiple...
was shoved in a crate. The other 3 went in willingly to hide from the bad guys. Or, the security guards, who were the bad guys.
So, question number 1, were they fed and watered? Question number 2, which corner was the pee corner? Question number 3...
Now, to be fair, they were all drugged until, they woke up just as they were landing kind of thing and being taken off the plane.
That's always good and
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep
So it
your
was a short trip.
Keep your drug children
Oh, yeah.
stowed properly and safely in crates.
Now, and I was like, as I said earlier, this thing steals from the Indiana Jones franchise so damn much. And I could have been okay with this. I could have been perfectly fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
If it had stolen from the first 2 movies.
Well, I mean, technically...
No, like,
It does, kind of. I mean, it meshes together 2 things.
yeah. Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
And I'm trying desperately at this point to not mix it up with that episode of DuckTales, because they more or less are of course they stole from the one really good adventure film that everyone knows. Everyone on Earth knows these movies. Why would you come up with something new? Fuck that. So much easier. Kids ain't seen that shit yet.
I literally would have been more willing to accept Dora and her crew jumping out of a flying plane in an inflatable raft and sliding down a mountain.
No, I'll tell you what this movie needed. It needed her to punch Nazis.
Every movie needs her to punch Nazis. Everything.
We have captured doors, we explore. You will tell us everything!
Pride and Prejudice needed punching zombies. I meant to say Nazis, but I don't care because it's still funny.
I kind of knew what you meant.
But Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This was not the place to go. It was literally after our favorite old woman shows up. And transforms to a younger Incan woman, because sure, what the hell?
By turning gold! It's not just whoop, like she's a faceless man. No, she actually has this middle ground where she's entirely sparkly gold.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Apparently Incans can do that. I did not know.
Well, we don't know all what has been lost when the Incan civilization, I mean, architecture, plumbing, medical. We have no idea what kind of magic and drugs they had.
Yes.
Like the simple fact is, let's be honest, if you're doing a movie with anything related to the Incan civilization, you're going to cram in gold everywhere goddamn possible.
Oh yeah,
Well, yes.
absolutely.
But so they eventually break into this temple that is
It's
in the middle
impenetrable.
Yeah.
because sure, why not? Again. That is in the lost Incan city of, I can't remember what the hell its name was, but it's every Incan city ever.
Parapita?
Parapata.
Thank
you.
Thank you, yeah.
The weird thing is, I was literally trying to find that name on the internet. Nothing.
Parapata.
But they break into this temple, and basically, okay, number one, if you've seen Last Crusade, you've seen the final act of this movie. I wanted somebody to say something about the penitent man shall pass. Because, let's just lift dialogue from Last Crusade entirely. And this movie almost did. I literally was sitting in the theater going, she's going to say, he chose wisely, or he chose poorly. Those lines were going to come in somewhere. 90 seconds later, our Incan, whatever the hell she is,
High Priestess.
whatever, I'm so beyond caring. Flat out says she has made a wise choice. And
Now, what was it that her parents were saying as she was going? Because there was the point where she had to go make that choice, and her parents are talking to her. And what was it they said? Wasn't it something along the lines of choose wisely or make the right choice or something to that effect?
I think it was only make the right choice, but it definitely is still okay, for this equation of a scene to work, we need to include this variable. Someone needs to say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like they knew that they were pushing it a little too much, and so they pulled back on that, just being like, how about don't use those exact words? Because
yeah. And it's just so telegraphed, even by my standards.
I like to,
and I don't have standards.
I like to think that Dora in this film is not as absolutely cut off from pop culture as she seems to be. She obviously can get through something. She has exposure to the internet, so she clearly maybe has seen Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade and all that. And since she is an explorer, it's what she's really into. It's her favorite films.
Oh yeah.
So I firmly believe that half of this film is a drug trip. They actually do die when they fall down those spikes. She's high as fuck, and she's just inputting things that she remembers, so that that's why it ends in a dance sequence that is nonsensical, because they're dead. They're dead.
Speaking more or less of that, there is something that I've heard that when the Double Toasted crew was discussing the first trailer, the moment where you see her try to run and jump across that ravine by herself and she doesn't make it,
she's definitely dead there.
If everything after that scene is just in her head and she is still on that chasm floor unconscious, this movie becomes way more bearable.
So this is the one where she tells Boots to go find her parents?
Yeah.
As opposed to the one where she and Diego make the jump?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, from that point on, that makes a lot more sense, because why would you suddenly be like, we're going on an archaeological expedition, which I'm sure we've gone on before since you're 18, and this isn't the first time that we've done any of this stuff. We're going to send you to somewhere in Peru. No, somewhere in Uganda. No, we're going to send you to LA. No, none of this makes fucking sense. It's her brain firing off as she's dying, crippled and laying there broken on the floor of this cave.
Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, share this video with your friends, and drop us a line anytime you like.